Good morning, everybody. It's Derek with the Wildlife Encounters Ecology Center. I can't believe here I'm doing another turtle video, but this one's an important one, so please pay attention. Hey, if you're not familiar with us, we're based in the New Hampshire seacoast area, and this is the time of year where we have a lot of turtles crossing the roads. And this one's a pretty spectacular individual species. For those unfamiliar with the state of New Hampshire and regulations and so on, we don't have a ton of reptiles around here, and many of them are endangered. This, for those who can't quite tell at a first glance, is known as a Blandings turtle. Now, the Blandings turtle is a state-protected species, and the Fish and Game Department, specifically in the regulations, says if you encounter one, please don't disturb it or relocate it. But this one was actually found not far away from here in Northwood, New Hampshire, laying on its back in the middle of the road. And an individual called us and said, hey, I found a turtle, I think it's injured, and brought it to us. Now, the reason they thought it was injured was actually because it is missing a leg. They thought that the leg was injured and retracted in, and that it needed some medical care in order to regain full functionality. So when I inspected this turtle, I saw that its leg was completely missing. And to tell you the truth, as unpleasant as that sounds, it's very common in the wild. So I contacted my friend Mike Marchand at the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department. He kind of runs the Reptile and Endangered Species program. And he had somebody named Melissa give us a call. And really, really exciting, actually. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there are some notches here. You can see one right there. And there's another one in the back. And that is actually stuff that's done by biologists and so on to track individuals. So they know this guy. And it is a guy. You can maybe see here in the video a little concave there. Some people actually think it might be an injury, but this is an indication if this dips in a little bit or is a little concave that it's a male. The females will have a flat, what we call plastron. So they know this individual. They had us weigh him and observe him and take some measurements and so on for statistical tracking. There is a sighting and reporting mechanism through the Fish and Game Department cooperatively with the University of New Hampshire. So if you want to know, I'm going to try to put some links in here with the video down below in the description to allow you to know if you see a wildlife sighting, especially an endangered species, that you can report its location, upload some pictures and things like that. Now, this guy has an important job to do. Interesting about the Blandings turtle is that it is a species, first of all, it takes about 18 to 20 years to become reproductively mature. When they hatch out of eggs, they're really tiny. They only weigh like 10 grams. So everything in the wild is scary to them. And interestingly, the females will lay the eggs, maybe 20 or 30 eggs in a nest, and they have to stay there for like 3 to 4 months depending on the temperature. And the temperature of the nesting site will actually determine whether the babies hatch as males or females and so on. So, you know, we talk a lot about global warming and unusual temperatures and weather and stuff like that. Well, imagine you're a species like this guy who is a guy, but then his kids are in a nest that's a little bit too warm and they're all born females. That's what happens. Just a little bit too high of a temperature and all of them turn out to be girls. If you do that too many generations, then there aren't any guys around and there's the end of your species, at least locally. So every guy is important, and one of the really cool thing about the Blandings turtles is the moms will lay the nest and leave, but the dads actually stick around and guard the nest. Really, really cool, called multiple paternity, because it might be 30 eggs, but those 30 eggs might be the offspring of 2 or 3 dads that had relations with the mom, if you will. And so they might all be actually laid and hatch at the same time, but some of them might not be related to each other. So that's a really cool thing as well. And the dads actually do their very, very best that they can to guard the nest. Who knows, maybe he lost his leg protecting his kids. We can respect and appreciate that. So we're here in Northwood, New Hampshire. We got a nice little road down here. We're gonna walk him down. We'll have you come with us. We're going to find a nice spot where we can kind of let him go far away from danger and get his orientation. You know, if you do have to relocate a turtle, it's really, really important. You know, they know where they are, and we don't want them to get lost. You know, if you take a turtle and you take it a mile down the road and, you know, release it and you think you're doing a good job releasing it somewhere more remote, well, it's like, hey, I grew up in Manchester, and now I find myself in an entirely different city, and I don't know where I am, and I don't know what's around me. So always try, especially if you're helping a turtle. Here you go, young one. Right there. Putting him right there in a nice area. He's going to get his bearings, hopefully find his kids and the missus.